Hey HMS, Mr. Nicholson here. So got another optional recipe for you, and if we get back into school, hopefully we can make this in school, but it's that pizza recipe I've been telling you about. So a couple ingredients you need. For the dough part of it, you need 2 cups of flour, 2 1/4 teaspoons of active dry yeast, or just a packet of yeast if you can find it at like Vans or Winco or anything like that. 1 tablespoon of oil, a 1/4 teaspoon of sugar, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1 cup of warm water. And then that's to make your dough. For the toppings part, all you need is 2 cups of mozzarella cheese, 4 tablespoons of sauce, and then for toppings, really it's optional, whatever you want to put on it, because it's a whole bunch of varieties that you can put on top of pizza. So let's get started making our dough. Okay, so your first step you need to do to make your dough is activate your yeast. So you have 1 cup of warm water in a liquid measuring cup, and you're gonna add a 1/4 teaspoon of sugar and 2 1/4 teaspoons of your yeast. Or again, if you have packets of yeast, it's 1 packet. But if you don't have it, like myself here, it's 2 1/4 teaspoons. So there's 1, 2, and 1/4. Mix that up, and then just set that aside and let that be for about 10 minutes. It's gonna activate the yeast, and I'll show you what it looks like once it's activated. Now while that's getting ready, you can take a large bowl and get your dry ingredients all mixed up. So, all right. Okay, so I went ahead and added our salt and flour while our yeast was activating, and now it's been about 10 minutes. We can add our oil. So it's about 1 tablespoon of oil. We dump that right in there. And then we know our yeast is activated when it looks like this. So the top of it will get kind of foamy like that, and you know it's ready to go. This is after about 10 minutes of sitting, so you can dump that right into the flour mixture and then just mix it up really well. Okay, now we got everything mixed up, and now all we need to do is we need to knead the dough. What kneading dough does is it stretches and strengthens the gluten in the dough. So what I do, you might want to double check with a parent or somebody at home before you do this on your counter. It's not okay on the counter. You might want to do it on a plate or a cookie sheet or something. But I just put a little bit of flour on the counter, dump your dough out on it, and you start kneading the dough. So what best way to knead the dough is basically just fold it and push. Rotate, fold, and push. And you just do this over and over until you feel like it's ready. I mean, it doesn't take too long. It just takes a minute or two, just kneading the dough, just like that. Okay, after you finish the process of kneading your dough, really all you need to do now is just put it back in your bowl, clean up your area a little bit, and then allowing this to rise, you're gonna let the dough sit for about an hour. So for that hour, find something else to do, clean up the mess you made, maybe prepare the other ingredients that you want to put on top of your pizza, but you need to let this sit at a minimum of an hour. So we'll come back to this when it's ready. Okay, now that you're getting ready to actually make and prepare your pizza to throw in the oven, before you do that, preheat your oven. So you want to set it to 350 degrees, and that's the temperature you need. Now, take your pizza pan. I actually have a pizza pan. But this is metal just like a cookie sheet, so I do need to spray it. If you don't have one of these, a cookie sheet works just as fine too. A rectangle or square pizza is going to taste just the same as a circle pizza. So make sure you spray those as well. If you have actually a pizza stone, you don't need to spray those. So don't need to hold it up close, just back here, get it all ready to go. And now you can put our pizza on here to roll out. So let's do that. Okay, so our dough has expanded a little bit. It's nice and stretchy now. We put it on our already sprayed pan. Again, if you have a pizza stone, you don't necessarily need to spray it, but if you have just something like this or a cookie sheet, do spray it. If you have a rolling pin at home, awesome. We do not. If you do not have a rolling pin, that's fine. You can just take a generic cup, put a little bit of spray on the side, and it works just as good. So when you roll this, you don't want to just start at one end and roll towards the other. Start in the middle and roll inside out. If you roll just start at one end, roll towards all the way, you're gonna have this big oblong shaped pizza, and you just want to roll inside out all the way around. So it gets super even, and yeah, just super even. The more spread out you get it, the thinner your crust is going to be. In this recipe, the dough is actually going to be pretty thick crust. So that's up to you how you want your crust to end up. Okay, so best part of this whole process of making it, besides eating it, is adding the toppings. So traditionally, you want some sort of like tomato sauce on here for your 4 tablespoons, and then your cheese and maybe pepperoni stuff. We decided to go a different route today. This is one of our favorite types of pizza that we make, and you can get as creative as you want, like barbecue chicken pizza or anything like that with using barbecue sauce. Tonight, I'm making my pizza with Alfredo sauce, some grilled chicken, bacon, onions, mushrooms, and mozzarella. So that's like one of our favorite types. So, putting your sauce on. So I just take several, like the 4 tablespoons, big healthy tablespoons with an actual spoon, and then just spread it around on there. And depending on how big of pan you have, you may have to adjust. So like I actually need more sauce on here, just to make sure it's spread evenly throughout the whole pizza. Okay. And then this is all preference. Because we have so many ingredients, I'm going to put my ingredients on first before the cheese. If you do just cheese pizza with pepperoni, you can do it on top or underneath, does not matter. So, put our chicken on here. Lots of chicken because we're super hungry. Get our bacon bits. And you can, if you were gonna make a pizza like this with like some sort of meat on there, we cooked ours while we were waiting that hour for the dough to rise. So there's a time like that you can take advantage of getting all your stuff ready. Onion. And mushrooms. Final step, add your cheese. Recipe calls for about 2 cups of cheese. I know some of you, the way you wanted more cheese in class, you could add more. It's up to you, make it extra cheesy. I myself actually add more cheese to this too. So, but once you're ready to go, you can put it in the oven. Oh, last step. I do this, you do not have to, but I'd like to put a little bit of butter on the outside here. Otherwise, when it's done cooking, it gets a little bit dry. So I just take a little bit of butter and just butter the crust, and then you're ready to go in the oven. Okay, so now we're all assembled, ready to go in the oven, and you're preheated, so when you open the oven, be careful not to get that heat wave right in your face. So set it in the oven. If you have 2 racks, bottom rack almost works a little bit better, just kind of cooks it a little bit through all the way. And then for timer, set it to 23 minutes, and then you'll have your pizza. All right, moment of truth. All right. That's a pizza. Okay, so obviously great way to make dinner for your family or lunch for quite a few people. However, if you're feeding like a big family, you might have to double the recipe, which is easy to do. You just double all this stuff for the dry ingredients, and you can make 2 pizzas. Opportunity for extra credit, you guys. We're gonna make this in class. Hopefully, if we get back into class, but if you make this at home, send me a picture through Teams of the final product, and then like what toppings you put on there, like basically what kind of pizza you made, how it turned out, and how you liked it. Send out all to me. I'll give you extra credit. So have a great week, guys. Keep working hard.